Hi, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Palma Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and I am once again joined by the lovely Tristan, Super Yacht Captain. How are you?
Very well, thank you, Rhea. Thank you again for having me back. I'm like a puppy that keeps yapping at your ankles. You can't get rid of me.
We love having you, actually, because you always have such interesting things to share, and you've always got a big smile on your face. So,
Well, that's very kind. I'm sure it's all lies, but they're kind lies, so I'll take them.
I got to keep you coming back somehow, right?
Sure. No, always happy to talk about the industry with anybody, to be honest with you, and hopefully shine some more positivity on it and talk about what the reality is on it.
Well, I mean, part of the reason that we're talking today is because we just aired a show the other day called Uncensored, and it was all about relationships on board, and actually, it was cheating was one
Yeah.
of the main topics. And you touched base with me and said, "Hey, let's go into this a little bit deeper as well."
Yeah.
What is it like? I mean, you and your fiance
Yeah.
are on board together.
Yes.
Tell me a bit about what it's like having relationships on board.
You know what, I can only speak from experience, what it's like for us on board and having other couples on board. Everybody's different, right? Every relationship is different. We're very fortunate in that Jiv and I were together for about a year before we started working together. Jiv's my fiance, and we decided that we're going to try and work together, because we found that when we were working on different boats, we were just spending far too much time apart from each other, and we felt on the long run it's going to affect our relationship in a negative way. So we decided to start working together, and we said to each other, right, if we find that we start falling out and having arguments, and it doesn't work, we're going to find Jiv a position on a different boat. But we try it. And I promise you, the first season that we worked together just flew by. It was a busy charter season, and we were very lucky that it worked out really well. I don't know how we've done it, but we've managed to keep our personal relationship separate to our work relationship. Don't get me wrong, occasionally when we're alone together, we have a little joke around and laugh around during the work hours, but we're always professional in front of the other crew, right? So we're one of the lucky ones. And the other thing as well, what's helped us is that now we've moved on to, well, since 2016 we've moved on to a bigger boat with six additional crew, so we're now 8 crew. Is that although we're on the same boat, we don't see each other as often as you might think, because she's on different hours to what I'm on, and she's working in different areas to the boat that I'm working on. So sometimes it feels like during a charter, we don't see each other to the end of the charter. And when you do, if we have like a day off after charter, we really appreciate it, and we can really spend, some quality time together off the boat. And the other thing is, from our experience, now speaking from hiring crew that are in relationships, it's been, for us, we've been very fortunate. We've had 3 separate couples work on board since 2016. And overall, it's worked really well. And the reason that it has worked well, what we've realized, is we have hired couples that have previously worked together on other boats, and couples who are a little bit older as well, a little more mature, right? So we know them, coming on board, we've spoken to their previous heads of departments or captains on their previous boat, and we ask all the questions about, what they like as a couple. Because as you know, it's not just about the job. We want to know how they're going to integrate as a couple. And I think that for us was the key, is having people or couples that are a bit more mature, so a bit older, and that have been together for a number of years and that have worked together.
What do you find the negatives would be then, say, in, for example, a hiring crew that isn't together, and they do get together well on crew or well on the board?
Well, I think it's a very you'll be walking on very thin ice. Okay, the reason I say that is because at the end of the day, if you're going to bring, a bunch of, single people on a boat, young single people on the boat, and they're stuck on board, they're working together and they're living together, things will happen. There's nothing you can do about that because we're all human and every human has their needs and they get attracted to one another. And that's fine. That's totally normal. That is part of being human, right? The difficulty is that it's not a question of whether or not they become a couple. Normally what happens is one of them just wants to have, get their leg over, to put it politely. And sometimes the other one might want more than that, might want a relationship. This is where you're going to cause friction, not only between those two people, but on board, because it creates an energy. Because, you can imagine if one person basically just wants to sleep with that person, but that other person wants something more, it's going to be very difficult. This is why, for us, it's important to hire people that are already in a relationship beforehand. Now, I know a lot of boats do say, right, guys, there's no messing around. If you're going to mess around, you're going to lose your job. The truth is, you can say that to people, right? And I know a lot of captains that do, especially on the bigger boats, right? Where they've got, 30, 40, 50 crew, whatever it is. You can't stop it. If they're going to want to do something with each other, they're going to do it, whether it's in secrecy or people know about it, And what is important is to explain to them why these rules are the way they are. Don't just say, you can't sleep together and that's that. Explain to them why. And when you explain to people, as I've mentioned before, communication, people, seem to understand. But at the same time, it doesn't stop them from doing what they're going to do, because they are going to do it. And I can't begin to imagine what it is like on the bigger boats, because, if I was a captain of those bigger boats, I would know that you can't control those people. It's going to be very difficult. But all you can do, explain to them, if you are going to do it, make sure you both know what you want from it. And that's the important thing.
Well, I mean, I can't imagine that it would be easy to keep something like that secret.
Believe me, when there's a will, there's a way. On yachts, I can assure you, if two people want to be together, they are going to find anywhere. They'll go into the laundry room. They're going to do whatever it takes. And they're going to know the rotation of the boat, where the people are going to be at each time. If people want to do something together, they will end up doing it, because it's the rule of attraction. It's biology. You can't stop it.
Well, for sure. But I mean, eventually someone's going to find out, because, as human beings, we tend to talk a little bit, or we tell our mates, or somebody overhears, or, that day it's in the laundry room and there was an accident on board and somebody had to clean something up and, came to the laundry room when it wasn't necessarily their normal time to come to the laundry. I mean, these things come out. It just happens.
Yeah, absolutely. What can you do? As the captain, you find out you got two options. You either say to them, okay, one of you's going to leave, you're both going to leave, or you sit down and you speak to them and you say, right, have you guys spoken about this? Because although people say, well, hold on, you're the captain, it's none of your business, it is absolutely the captain's business, because it will affect the running of the boat. Okay, but the captain isn't there to be the judge and the jury. The captain is there to be, a middleman, so to speak, to make sure both parties understand what they're getting into and make sure they have spoken to each other about what they want from each other. And if they both agree that they both want to be, say, for example, in a relationship, then the captain might say, yes, we're happy to give it a go. Or he or she might say, absolutely not. This is the rules of the boat. But if you're going to stop it, you say, absolutely not. I can pretty much guarantee they're going to still be hooking up with each other. They're going to do it, whether it's on the boat or off the boat. They're going to do it. And if you give them their warnings, you give them their written warnings, and eventually the captain may decide to let one of them go or let both of them go, or be happy for them to be in a relationship. The difficulty is you don't know, from a captain's point of view and from other crew members' point of view, is you don't know how that relationship's going to turn out. You know, it might just be lust, you know, for each other. But when they eventually get to know each other, they might, you know, not be compatible. Then we've got another problem on our hands. They start having arguments and getting other crew involved, and they're upset with each other, which affects the energy on board the vessel, which affects the crew, which then, you know, affects the whole running of things. So it is a difficult one. It's something that's been going on for years and years and years. There is no right solution, but what we have done on board Most Your AWOL, as I was just explaining to you earlier, seems to have worked. And that is hiring couples who have worked together, who do have a strong relationship. And there are downsides to that. You know, I'll give you an example. What we noticed on one of the couples that are working for us is, let's say, for example, the chief officer had not been happy with the way the deckhand had done a particular job and had given him, say, a bollocking because he was being lazy or whatever. He will then be in a bad mood. And we would notice that whenever he was in a bad mood, she was in a bad mood. So their feeling then went on to each other. And if she was in a bad mood, he would be in a bad mood. If he was in a good mood, she would be in a good mood. So there's always these barriers you've got to kind of, you know, work, I won't say against, but work to try and kind of break them down or to like minimize them. And to, like I keep saying, it's just communicating and explaining to them, right, guys, this is a situation, you've done this wrong, but don't go now be in a bad mood and now your other half's in a bad mood, because then the rest of the crew feel it.
Yeah.
So like I said, there's no right or wrong answer, but we think we found something that works for us and we've been successful since, but it's not perfect.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, for those that think it's none of the captain's business, the captain is ultimately responsible for every soul on that vessel. Yeah. So the captain has to make sure that his vessel is running smoothly, properly, and it does come down to people's attitudes to one another, because if somebody's in a bad mood or somebody is, angry with somebody else, that can affect the safety on board.
It really can. It really can. And it's not only people in relationships. It's people as individuals. You know, I think especially these days. I know on your channel you talk a lot about the mental health of yacht crew and people within the industry. It's actually important to know, for the captain to know what is happening in the crew member's personal life, in order to make sure that they are not only safe for the boat, but with themselves. They're not going to do anything silly. So that's why it's always important to talk to the crew, how your family doing, what's up, and asking about, maybe they might have nieces or nephews, or they might have children or spouses, and just kind of, some people find that quite intrusive, like some crew members saying, my personal life is none of your business. And as a captain, you've got to respect that, which I completely agree. But then the individual needs to understand we have a duty of care to make sure that you are okay. And this happens, in relationships and as individuals on board the boat. So, sorry to say, but a lot of the case, it is the captain's business. We don't want it to be, but we want to ensure that you guys are in a fit state of mind to carry out your duty safely, and you're not going to do anything silly.
So as a captain, your personal preference is to hire people that possibly are in a relationship already and a more mature relationship.
For our size boats and the number of crew we have on total on board, it's worked for us. So the answer is yes. If I was to hire, say, because we are, at the moment, the other couple that we have on board, last year he was a deckhand, she was second stew. This year he's moved up to first mate, and they work really well together, and they've been together for a very long time. If I was to hire, say, last year a deckhand and a stew who weren't a couple, and then all the other crew members on board are in relationships but not on board, like they have spouses at home, like the engineers, he's married with kids, like older kids, the chef is got a partner. So what's going to happen with those two single people? Naturally, they're going to be, you would think, attracted to each other. And like I said, it might be a good thing, but is it worth taking the chance? What are the chances of them falling in love and having a long-term relationship? I think it's quite restricted because you don't have any other options. So you feel forced to that other person. So that's why I think the way we've got it works for us. I completely understand that every single boat is different. Every single management style is different. And you can only use, as a captain, your experience and your knowledge and what has worked for you in the past. And at the same time, although we all have in our minds as captains the perfect crew, the perfect this, the perfect, the way of running a boat, it doesn't exist. Because we've got to take into consideration the human side of it. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is perfect. We all have our flaws. We all have good days. We all have bad days. But it's about understanding it's about minimizing the bad and maximizing the good. This is from a captain's point of view. And it's difficult. And every year it's a new task because you get new personalities on board, whether it be better or worse, but it's learning to adapt to that person and that person adapting to the way we prefer to run things.
Well, I mean, I guess it's straight across the board. Human nature is human nature. And when you're in a confined space for that much time, it is essential to have people that at least have some sort of cohesiveness.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. Yeah. It's interesting because the other program that we're watching, your other radio show hosts I was watching, they were talking about relationships on board, and they were talking about infidelity and crew cheating on their spouses, which when we kind of look at it, it unfortunately it happens more often than it should. In my opinion, there shouldn't be an excuse for it, but I think one thing, correct me if I'm wrong here, but one thing that seems to have in common is that when an individual is cheating on their partner with another crew member, say for example, there tends to be alcohol involved. It tends to always be after a few drinks. So how do you stop that? You stop that by stopping yourself from putting yourself in that position. Just don't put yourself in that position. Just walk away from it, or do whatever it is you need to do. Do something different. And the thing is, you got to understand is, a lot of these crew are spending a hell of a lot of time away from their loved ones, from their wives, from their husbands, their girlfriends, their boyfriends. And, we as humans, we want to feel connected to, you find somebody attractive, you want to feel connected to them. Every human has their needs. They have their needs. It's normal. It's part of being human. So this is why, unfortunately, it does happen more so in the yachting industry than in any other industry, because in other lines of work, at the end of the day, people are going home to their loved ones. Whereas in yachting, at the end of the day, they've only got the crew to go home to. And this is for
Well, I actually think that I have family in the airline industry, and the airline industry is quite similar with the yachting industry. A lot of times the stews will be with the captains, and they'll have layovers, of course, wherever they may be, because they can only fly for so many hours. So it is essentially the same idea. You are stuck on the road or in the air or on the water for certain amounts of time. You have your crew that goes with you wherever you go, and you're thrown together, and that sort of thing happens in that industry as well.
Well, I also think, though, at the same time, is that because of technology, we can be connected to our loved ones, because we can do things like FaceTime and Skype and WhatsApp and social media. So you still can have, some sort of relationship, that way. And I think also in today's world, I might be wrong, maybe just the world in general, is a lot of people forget to water their own grass, right? So what I mean by that is people think the grass is green on the other side. And in most cases, it's not. It's not. You got to, like any relationship, it's not easy. You got to fight for it. You got to understand, you got to look at the bigger picture and understand, what is it that you want in life? Do you love this person? Do you want to be with this person for a long period of time? Yes. There are going to be hurdles, and again, the success to a good relationship is good communication.
Yeah.
And we're quite fortunate as well, because we do work together, Jib and I, and we do, again, spend a lot of time together, and we're in isolation now, and for us it's normal. Like, we always spend this much time together. Some other people, they must be, wringing each other's neck, some couples. So we are lucky that there are relationships out there that do work. And I feel that obviously one day Jim and I want to start our own family, hopefully sooner rather than later, is that because of the amount of time we've been together and the bond that we've created, I don't think, we would allow she wouldn't allow, I wouldn't allow to put ourselves in that position where you're going to be unfaithful to one another, unless I think in the back of the mind, secretly, you want it. And then if that is how you feel, you need to let the other person know. You have to communicate. It's not fair on them, and it's not fair on yourself.
Well, no, I completely agree. I mean, I think at the end of the day, if you're continuously nurturing what it is that you have and making sure to take care of that and to keep it fresh and to keep it alive, you will never have a problem. I think the biggest mistake that people have in relationships is they start taking them for granted.
Yeah.
And that is when they fall apart.
Absolutely. And and maybe there's these, these dating apps and things. I'm not sure they're helping, relationships. I think, these days it seems that being loyal to one another is not important anymore. It's all about, getting your leg over these short-term things, and people just give up too quickly. There are more divorces now than there's ever have been, because people relationships aren't easy.
I think we live in a society where everything is interchangeable. It's like relationships are like plastic. We could just change that in, change this in, change that in. And, I agree with you in regards to the idea of these apps. I mean, I'm single and I have been for some time now. Not sure that's ever going to change. But, I've had friends say to me, why don't you go on to a dating app? And maybe I'm old-fashioned, but I really believe that the only way to meet somebody is in person, whether you be at an event with friends or a friends for dinner, but the only way to really find if you have a connection is the old-fashioned way. You happen upon somebody, there's that spark that just comes automatically. No app is going to do that.
Yeah, I think you're definitely right, but I can't speak from experience, but from people that I know, they're saying dating the old-fashioned way is a lot harder than it used to be. Just going out and meeting people isn't as easy as it used to be, because of these apps, and because, if you're a guy and you see a girl at the bar, she more than likely she's going to be on her phone or talking to a friend. But you never really see a girl on a bar just on her own having a drink, and you go up and say hello. You feel awkward going up if she's busy on her phone. She might be, sending messages to friends or whoever. So that kind of first, attempt to try and communicate with somebody or try something with them is probably a lot harder than it used to be.
Well, and I also think that a lot of people they don't go out as much as they used to anymore.
Maybe.
Or maybe that's just me.
People just date from their couches these days.
Well, right now, I think no one's going anywhere. So the only way to date, I don't know, maybe we should create a virtual bar or something.
Virtual, yeah.
A virtual hookup.
The single yacht crew bar. The single yachties.
We can all meet up together via Zoom and have a few drinks and loosen our tongues, which probably isn't a good idea at all.
What else are we going to do in isolation, eh?
That's true, yeah. So, Tristan, I know that you're busy, cleaning things. You've been doing an awful lot of cleaning on your channel lately.
I've been doing lots of cleaning. on Facebook. I cleaned the fireplace the other day, and then yesterday, cleaned the fireplace 2 days ago. Yesterday I cleaned the patio, and really, really fascinating videos, guys. You know,
I
what
have
a
to
city
say
your
though,
captain does
I
in his
was
free
actually
time. Cleans fireplaces
self-satisfying.
and terraces.
Yeah, no, I watched the one where you cleaned your stove, and I gotta say, it was one of those really odd things that I was like, oh, that feels good, you
Really
know?
satisfying. It's so
Yeah.
satisfying. It's really satisfying. Yeah. The other thing as well is you're going to laugh, and your viewers are going to laugh, your listeners, is maybe some people like it. Is I've thought about getting, because I've got a swimming pool here, is getting a remote control boat, hear me out, and doing videos about ship handling and,
Oh,
docking a yacht. And I was wondering, would to all your listeners, would anybody be interested in that, or am I completely losing the plot? I'd be very interested to know, because I think it'd be quite interesting for people who want to learn about it. But I might just spend too much time in isolation. So,
well, you know what? I'm sure that actually, you know what? I think even just the comedy factor of it would just be worth watching.
yeah, I think so. I'll put some
Yeah.
comical music and sound effects in the background. You know, when
Yeah,
I
I'd be all over
crash it
that.
into the wall. Oh, yeah, put the fenders out. Come on.
I'd share it. And you'd have to make some homemade fenders for it as well.
Gotta get some fenders going. What would you
Yeah.
use for homemade fenders?
Ooh,
Let us
sponges.
know in the comments box below, guys.
Yeah. I would use sponges.
Ah, good idea. Get some sponges. There we go.
See,
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at thinking.
Who's
No,
gonna
well,
drop the anchor?
mind you, no, that wouldn't work very well because if you used a sponge and it got wet, it would just soak up the water and probably
Yeah.
like get really heavy and pull the boat down into the water.
Stability. Yeah, you see,
Yeah,
you're thinking like a captain now.
I know.
Yeah, watch out.
I could
Captain
be,
and
see,
Rhea's
you know
coming.
what? Every time I talk to you, I'm like reinventing a career. I think the last time I was going to become a yacht broker.
Yes.
Now I need to become a captain. Next time, let's see where it takes us.
Yeah. Well, did you actually speaking of a yacht broker, I don't know if I posted a video, I think it was on Sunday, about David Seal from Yacht
Yeah.
for Sale YouTube channel, about his story. Amazing stuff. I don't know if you watched it, but he was a window cleaner in Wolverhampton in England, which is the town which is the furthest away from the coast. And he basically made his way to Italy. He actually chased the girls to Italy. Obviously, there's got to be somehow a girl involved. And then he started off, it's an amazing story. He was giving Norberto Ferretti, who is the founder of the Ferretti Group, the boat builders. He started off by giving him English lessons. And then from there, he fell into the yachting industry. It's an amazing story. If you haven't seen it, honestly, it's great. It's a fantastic story, how he became from a window cleaner to becoming probably the most well-known broker in the world.
Nice. Well, I mean, I started off as a window licker, so
what? Sorry?
It's a joke that we have in North America. It's a window licker. It's somebody who rides the short bus to school. You're not incredibly bright.
I see.
Yeah, so I got into media. That's sort of where I ended up. I'm not sure. To be honest, I don't think I could ever be anything to do with the actual yachting part of things because I get seasick. So that kind of
the brokers don't need to get at sea. I better be careful what I say here. They on the computer doing a fantastic job, and telling the clients exactly what they want to hear.
I think that's probably the problem with most yacht brokers is they tell the clients exactly what they want to hear as opposed to exactly what they need to hear.
No comment.
Good man. Well, Tristan, I really can't wait for the next time, and maybe the next time you'll be coming to us live with your demonstrations of your mini super yacht on your swimming pool. That'd be really cool.
Mad. I must be losing the plot. Why do I think people will be interested in that? I don't know.
But anyway. Do you actually have a mini super yacht?
No, but you're gonna laugh. I put a post on, I think it's on Team Yacht Crew, asking people if anybody had a remote control boat. It didn't go down so well. I got a lot of funny comments and people just saying to me, "You've now completely lost it." So maybe I have, but at least it'll keep me busy.
it'll keep you busy and it'll keep us
Yeah.
entertained, and that's
Yeah.
all good. But you know what? Amazon is still delivering.
Yeah, okay. I didn't think about that. Not a
Yeah.
bad idea. I might do that actually.
Yeah. And you can actually then you can get one that actually resembles a super yacht as opposed to one that looks like, Tom Jones down the road there is
Yeah.
fishing boat.
When I actually I looked online. It wasn't a super yacht. It was like a tugboat. But the good thing about it had twin screws, the same as a super yacht, so it would actually make sense when you're doing the ship handling. But I'll look. That's a good idea. I think that I'll look at Amazon, and then officially on YouTube, everybody will know I've lost my mind. So it's great.
Well, we're enjoying losing your mind because it entertains us. So
Yeah,
keep at
I'm
it.
glad it entertains the rest of the world. You know.
I know, right? No, we're good with that. We're good with that. Carry
Perfect.
on.
Great.
Once again, thank you very much, Tristan, for your time. We really do appreciate you coming on board here.
Always a pleasure, Rhea. Thank you very much.
Once again, you've been watching another edition of Palma Yacht Crew Vlogs right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I have been your host. We'll see you next time.